afternoon. My name is Sheila Lamb, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, the Virginia Small Business Development Center is a partnership program between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 26 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses in their local communities. Our one-on-one advising services are available at no charge. Today's webinar, Intro to State Government Contracting with SBSD, is presented by the Virginia SBDC Network in partnership with the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity. We are recording today's presentation and it will be posted on our website, virginiasbdc.org. Due to the large number of participants, everyone's microphone is muted and the chat feature is turned off. But if you have questions during the presentation, you can type those into the Q&A box and we will address them during and at the end of the session. We have also enabled the live transcript function, which you can show or hide via your own meeting controls. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter for today's session, Angela Barber, Business Services Manager for the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity. With over 25 years of marketing, strategic planning, and economic development experience, Angela is responsible for business development and outreach for Hampton Roads, the Peninsula, and the Eastern Shore. Prior to her employment with the Commonwealth of Virginia, Angela worked for the City of Chesapeake's Economic Development Department for 17 years. She began her employment with the city in 1999 as Marketing Research Specialist and spent the last 9 years of her tenure as Business Development Manager, focusing on small, women, and minority-owned business development and entrepreneurship. As Business Services Manager for the Virginia SBSD, Angela provides business development resources, counseling services, training, and technical assistance with the state's certification program, SWaM, for small business owners interested in doing business with the Commonwealth of Virginia. She also serves as buyer advocate for state agencies in her service area to help connect small businesses to contracting opportunities. Please join me in welcoming Angela Barber.
Hi, thank you so much, Sheila, for that introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for inviting me today to be a part of the Intro to State Government Contracting. And also with me today is my colleague, Ms. Chris Lay, who actually covers the Northern Virginia area. So again, I'm Angela Barber, Business Service Manager for Eastern Virginia region, and that's everything from the Eastern Shore up to parts of Williamsburg. So with that, I am going to go ahead and get started, and let me go ahead and share my screen so that everyone can see. Great, and it shows that I am sharing. And Sheila, can you see my screen?
I can, you're all good. Thank you.
Awesome. So great. So like most agencies, we do have a mission, and hopefully your business also has a mission statement. And ours is to provide education and assistance, economic opportunity, and access to capital to generate employment and economic growth for all of our small businesses. Before I jump into how to do business with the Commonwealth of Virginia, I always like to give an agency overview. Most people only associate our agency with the SWaM certification. However, we do provide other services at no cost because you, as a taxpayer, have already paid for these services up front. So first and foremost, access to capital. That's through our Virginia Small Business Financing Authority, which is called the VSBFA. This is our in-house lending division, providing different loan options for small businesses, depending on where they are in their business life cycle, to help them grow within the state of Virginia and be successful. We also provide business development and outreach. That's my division. It's part of our division that supports economic development through workshops and training. It's access to resources. So we have great resource partners like the SBDC, and we also provide one-on-one counseling sessions. We also do small business workshops. We also do small business conferences. And my team is covers the entire state of Virginia. So Chris covers Northern Virginia, and we have 3 others divisions that are covered as well across the state of Virginia. Then we have our certification division, which is for our micro businesses, our small women and minority owned, which we call SWaM, and then our DBE, our disadvantaged business enterprise certification that's tied to all transportation related projects that are federally funded. We also have our sourcing and compliance division. And this division is strategic sourcing support of SWaM participation. So we have the state of Virginia has spending goals, and each of our state agencies is responsible for trying to spend about 42% of the budget with a business that's SWaM certified. So our sourcing and compliance division works directly with those buyers to make sure they're utilizing those resources as well. And then not listed here, but also we are advocates for the small businesses in the Commonwealth as it relates to facilitation and policy for all of our small business initiatives. So in order to do business with the Commonwealth of Virginia, there are 2 steps a small business owner must take in order to position his or her company to have the best advantage to not only bid on, but possibly be awarded a contract with the state of Virginia, any of our colleges and universities, and many of our local government agencies who also utilize our certification. So the first step is to register in EVA. This is our online electronic procurement system. And this is where the buyers of our agencies who need specific goods and services are posting those solicitations. So what is EVA? Again, it's Virginia's e-procurement portal. And this is a tool that's used by the Commonwealth for all purchasing activity. It is used to announce bidding opportunities, to get quotes, and to also place orders for goods and services. Within the EVA network, you have over 245 state agencies, colleges, and universities. We have over 700 local government bodies that are also utilizing the EVA platform. And then there are over 13,000 EVA users that are registered in our portal. So this is actually a marketplace for your business as well. So I want to talk a little bit about the small purchases and some of the purchasing rules. So for purchases that are $10,000 and under, the method is a single quote. And the award priority for that is a micro business. So for purchases under $10,000, there might be an award priority that is posted in EVA, but also it allows a buyer to be able to search our business directory for purchases as well to connect with those buyers. So if it's under $10,000, they have an opportunity to actually go out to the business directory, search for a micro business, and in that category for the purchases that they're looking for, goods and services, and actually contact those businesses directly to get a quote and do business without it being posted in EVA. For purchases from $10,000 up to $100,000, the method to bid here is a competitive bid, and the award priority is for a business that's certified as small. Now, for purchases over $100,000, this is considered a large purchase. And to do that, we can post an invitation for bid, or what we call an IFB. These are competitive sealed bids. They have very specific terms, have detailed specifications, and it's awarded based on the price. Also, requests for proposals, and you probably heard the term RFP. This is a competitive negotiation. The vendor proposes a solution, and 2 or more offers can be selected for negotiation. And here, the award is made to the best overall proposal. So what do you need to register in EVA? Well, we're going to need your EIN number or your employer identification number. We also need a Virginia Substitute W-9 form, and this is so that they may pay you. And for some, you may have to download this from the EVA website. So there is a link on the EVA website for you to download the W-9 form. It cannot be a digital signature. So that means that you will have to print it and sign it and scan and upload it back into EVA. And then you're also going to need your commodity codes, which we call NIGP codes. It simply stands for National Institute of Governmental Purchases, and they represent goods and services. Commodity codes are used at the state level and at the local level. And you can have multiple codes representing the goods and services that your business offers. So what you see is a screenshot now of EVA's homepage. And EVA is very easy to get to. And you see the web address there, eva.virginia.gov. And you always spell Virginia out. So once you come to EVA's homepage, the first thing you want to do is you want to click on I Sell to Virginia, because primarily that's what you're looking to do. You're trying to see how you can sell your goods and services to the state of Virginia. Once you click on the link here, it will talk about purchasing rules and also provide some other resources for you to help you navigate and learn a little bit more about EVA. You also want to click on Register Now. They've updated the web page, so it does say supplier login. So you would be the supplier. So you would want to register as a supplier in the EVA platform. You will also need to have your NIGP codes, and we mentioned that in the slide previously. So there's a couple of ways that you can actually get to the NIGP codes. If you're back on the home page, if you click on resources and the drop down, there will be a link for the NIGP codes. Or you can simply go to the bottom of EVA's homepage under tools and click on the NIGP code lookup link. Once you are inside of the search tool under EVA, you will have an opportunity to put in descriptive words describing your products or your services. And in some cases, you might have both products and services. Excuse me, these are national codes, so we don't make them up. These are national codes, and there may or may not be a code specifically for what you do, but you want to use as many codes as necessary to tell EVA buyers what you sell. These bids are matched by your NIGP code, and when you're registered in EVA, if a solicitation is posted with the NIGP codes that are in your profile, you should receive a notification. One thing I do want to point out that services always start with the number 9. So if you are a janitorial company, your code would be 91039. So just remember, all services start with the 9. When you do a search, you will have what are called primary class codes that end in the zeros. You want to make sure that you click on those. They are hyperlinked to get the sublevel of the codes. And then this screenshot is an example. So for consulting, that major code is 91800. Well, consulting, there's a lot of things that you can consult on. So instead of using the major class code, you want to make sure you click to open up all of the subcodes and scroll through them to find as many codes necessary that represent the type of consulting that you do. Okay. We also offer, there's also EVA training as well. We offer or partner with EVA to do virtual workshops. They are repeated every week. So the first workshop would be the intro to selling, which is going to give you a lot of the basic information about EVA. And the second workshop is going to be the advanced. The advanced workshop, you want to make sure you take one before you take workshop 2. The workshop number 2 will teach you how to use the algorithm system in EVA, and it will help you generate your leads based on the matches that you receive in your notification. When you click on the link for the calendar, you will see the workshops. They are virtual, they are free, and we highly recommend that if you are new to EVA, take these workshops to help you learn how to navigate the platform. EVA also offers technical assistance. So if while you're registering, you run into any issues and need help, or you just have a generic question about using the platform, you can also reach out to Eva. Their customer service team will be happy to walk you through or provide an answer for any of the questions. And again, you are the supplier, so you want to click on Supplier Assistance Request Form to submit whatever the issue is, and they will be responsive. So the second step, after you've registered in Eva, is to get certified. So you must meet the eligibility requirements, and you also must be a for-profit business in order to apply. 99% of the businesses prior to COVID were considered small. So because they're small, they can apply for the SWaM program. So SWaM certification, again, is small, women-owned, and minority-owned certification. And we also have our service disabled veteran, as well as the micro certification under that SWaM umbrella. SWaM certification is the Commonwealth of Virginia's small business program. It was created to enhance procurement and contracting opportunities for small businesses participating in state-funded projects. And again, while it was created for state-funded projects, we have a lot of our local government bodies that actually use not only our certification, but they also post solicitations in Eva as well. You may want to reach out to those cities directly to their purchasing divisions to find out how to do business with them, to find out if they utilize our SWaM, as well as if they post in the Eva platform. So going to go over some of the SWaM designations and just give you a brief definition of each of those certifications. So for a small business, it's no more than 250 employees or no more than 10 million in revenue averaged over 3 years. So that simply means that you have to meet one or the other in order to qualify for a small business. That's 51% owned and operated is the definition. For a woman-owned business, it's 51% owned and controlled by one or more women who are U.S. citizens or legal residents. And so sometimes this certification can be a little tricky because it's not necessarily in name. So we're looking at the daily control and management of that industry, of that business. So at the end of the day, that 51% own and operate must be in control and be able to make decisions without the vote or without the decision from someone else. So woman-owned business. Minority-owned, at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more minorities. And then our micro business certification, it's no more than 25 employees and no more than 3 million in revenue averaged over 3 years. So the difference between the small and the micro, of course, is based on the number of employees and the revenue. However, for small, remember, it's an or factor. And for the micro, you have to meet the criteria for both the employees as well as the revenue. And the micro business certification, that is also for, again, for purchases under $10,000. SWaM certification is an online process through our certification application portal. Simply go to our website, and the website is repeated on the slides. Go to Certification Division tab, and you will see a link that says Apply Now. Paper applications are no longer accepted. And we launched the certification portal in July of 2017. The standard processing time is about 60 business days. Now that equates to 90 calendar days, which is actually about 3 months from the receipt of a complete application. Now, some people might say, well, 3 months is a long time. However, the state of Virginia is one of the fastest states to process their small business certifications. So we actually, that 60 business day time frame gives enough time to actually submit the application, for it to be assigned to a certification officer, and they do review those applications in the order received. and also time to have that application approved. Now, depending on how many documents are being submitted, it might take a little more or a little less than that 60 business day window, but that is the standard processing time. And then the certification is good for 5 years. So it is good and it expires 5 years from the date of approval. And we will send out notifications as early as 120 days prior to expiration. So given that the certification takes about 3 months to process, once you receive that notification, you want to make sure you're right on it and going through that recertification process. So some of the supporting documents that need to be uploaded along with the online application is proof of identification. So that's your DMV license. If you don't drive, it's your state ID. Also need to have proof of U.S. citizenship or permanent residency. So we're looking at things like a birth certificate, a current passport, a certificate of naturalization, or a permanent residency card. Documented proof of owner's contribution to the business. In layman's terms, what did you spend out of your pocket to start your business? And that could be different for many business owners. If you are an LLC or a corporation, you should have a receipt for those fees. You should have a receipt for your business license. Some of you may have paid for insurance, or you might be paying for a space. You could have purchased equipment or supplies. So if the business is older than 5 years old, we are looking for a statement just indicating what your estimated investment was to the business. If the business is less than 5 years old, we're going to be looking for some of those receipts. Number 4, resume of owners and officers. Regardless of the number of owners or officers in the company, we need to have a resume. Think of it as like going on a job interview. It's going to have your previous work experience, your education. It may also have any type of professional industry standard licenses that you may have or training, okay? So, and it also should include your current business. Number 5, copies of professional licenses and permits. So there are some industries that require you to have a professional license. If you are in construction, you probably have a contractor's license, A, B, or C. If you do transportation or hauling, you probably have a CDL. If you're in food services and say you do catering or have a restaurant, you probably have a Safe Serve license as well. There will be industries that do not require you to have a professional license, but we will ask you for your business license. So you may upload a current business license or simply write a statement saying that there is no professional license for your industry. Number 6, business tax returns for your current year and previous 2 years. So sometimes this kind of confuses individuals when they see this, especially if they are a new business. However, a new business that has not yet filed tax returns may still apply for certification. You just won't have that information at the time. So we look for the most recent federal tax returns. And depending on the type of return, 1 or 2 pages of the previous 2 years, we will be asking you to upload. We're also going to be asking you for the first page of the Form 941, which is the employer's quarterly federal tax return for the most recent 4 quarters. So basically, the 941 is you reporting the number of employees. If there are no W-2 employees, be sure to enter 0 for the number of employees. Otherwise, the system will automatically prompt you for a 941. Sometimes the question comes up, well, what about my 1099ers? Well, they're technically not your employees. They pay their own taxes, so they would not be counted on a 941. So if you're prompted for a 941, go back and look at the number of employees. Other documents that we're going to be required of you will be based on how your business is structured. So if you are a corporation, quite a few documents that we're going to be asking you for, whether it is one owner or multiple owners. So for a corporation, We're going to be asking for your certificate of incorporation and your articles of incorporation and any amendments or have any changes been made in the business. These are public documents that are available for download in your filing history under the State Corporation Commission, scc.virginia.gov. Again, these are public documents. So if you don't have a copy of these, you simply go out to the SEC's website. You can do a search on your business and you can actually go to the filing history and download those documents. Your corporate bylaws and any amendments. The corporate bylaws pretty much spell out who has the voting rights, the number of shares that are owned, if a quorum is needed, who does what, and who has control in the business. It is required. The minutes from the most recent stockholder and board meeting, whether you have one owner or multiple owners, there should at least be a minutes from your director's meeting. Both sides of the stock certificate. If a stock certificate was issued, if a stock certificate was not issued, it can be a statement saying a stock certificate was not issued. The stock ledger, however, is required. The stock ledger basically keeps track of the number of owners and their amount of shares and any time that has changed within the corporation. The stock ledger is required. If you are an LLC or a limited liability company, not so many documents, but just as important. So we're looking for your certificate of organization, existence or formation. Sometimes it may say certificate of fact. And we're also looking for your articles of organization and any amendments. And again, these documents are public documents that can be downloaded from the SEC website. We're also going to be looking for an operating agreement. So the operating agreement, much like the bylaws, talks about who has control and who does what in the business. Again, the only difference here is if you are the only owner of the LLC, we will not require you to have an operating agreement. You can simply type a statement that says, I'm the only owner of the LLC and I do not have an operating agreement, and date and sign and upload that. Additional documents that are asked based on other structures are sole proprietorship. So we're going to be asking you for your current business license. And a lot of times with our sole proprietors, their legal business name usually is their name, John Doe, but they might be trading under or doing business under a different name, JD's Automotive, for instance. If you are trading as or doing business under a different name other than your legal business name, we will ask you to upload your certificate of assumed or fictitious name. Again, this document is also downloadable from the SEC website. And if you do not have a certificate of assumed or fictitious name, you can apply for one with the SEC. I think it is $10 to apply for your certificate. Franchises. So we do certify franchises, and even though franchises are larger businesses, the franchisees are smaller business owners with their own unique EIN number. So whether it's a corporation or an LLC, we're going to ask for all of the previous documents. However, we're also going to ask for that franchise agreement. Whether it's 1 page or 300 pages, that franchise agreement needs to be uploaded, because sometimes in those agreements, there are going to be rules on how a franchisee can do business or who they can do business with. And trust me, our certification officers, when they review these documents, they read every single page. If you are a partnership, you should have a partnership agreement. I cannot stress more. Please make sure that all of your agreements, your operating agreements, your franchise, your partnership agreements, that these documents are signed and dated. So the next screenshot is just to show you the SWaM certification portal. Again, you can access the portal from our webpage. And when you click on the link to apply now, you will have an option to log in if you already have a login and password, but to register if you've not accessed the system. Once you click on register, you will be prompted to put in your full name, create a username and password, confirm your password, and your email address. Please use an email that you check on a regular basis. And it's important because you will receive notifications from the portal as well as from our agency. And you want to click on register. Once you click on register, the system will send you an email. And all you need to do is open the email and click confirm your account. If you don't, it usually happens pretty quick. So if you don't receive it right away, check your spam folder. And you may want to check there as well. Once you have confirmed your account, you usually receive a pop-up notice saying that the email address has been verified, and then you can go back into our system and then log in. Once you've logged in to the portal, actually right after you log in, there's a second layer that has been added for protection. It's an authentication page. And you can do one of two things. You can either download the app and generate a 6-digit code every time you log in, or you can simply click on skip and choose up to 30 days. And it will bypass the authentication page and bring you right into the application portal. The screenshot you see here is the page that you will get when you are looking to either create a new application or link up to a previous application but had not yet completed the application in the portal. The first thing we're going to ask you after you click new application is we're going to ask you for your EIN number. Everything that we do in the portal is tied to your EIN number. Once you put your EIN number in and click next, the system is going to search for you. If the system does not find your EIN number in our portal, you will be prompted to start a new application. If it finds your EIN number in our system, because sometimes we do have individuals that will start an application but not complete the application, but it's still in our system, that it will prompt you for a certification number. And if that happens, you can simply reach out to Chris or myself or to our customer service team, and they'll be happy to provide that certification number for you because the system will not allow you to create a duplicate application. Once you have entered your EIN number and you're prompted to start an application, the first thing that we're going to ask you for is to check the boxes for all of the designations that you're applying for. Now, you can check the box for all of them if you meet the eligibility requirements. Once you have checked the boxes, identified the structure of your business, and provided information such as ownership information, as well as putting in your NIGP codes and completing the first part of the application, the second part is to upload the required documents. Every document has a home. So you will see the request for the document, and in some cases, the documents we're asking you for are also based on how you responded to those questions in the first part of the application. But for every document, there's going to be a space to upload those required documents. So if you have more than 3 pages or more than 1 page, you want to make sure that you scan those pages together for that particular document, and you want to upload it into the portal. Once you upload those documents, they are secure and they are saved. And the system does an auto save, but you can also click on the save button as well. Once you have uploaded all of your documents, completed the digital affidavit, you're ready to click on submit. One of the things that I always recommend that if you're working with one of the business service managers and they're helping you with your certification, you can ask them to review your application before you submit it. Now, we're not certification officers. However, we do this every day. And so our job is to really make sure that the documents that we ask you for are the documents that have been uploaded. And we can do that before you actually submit the application. So once you submit the application, a lot of times we get asked, well, what's the status? What's going on with our application? And there's a couple of ways that you can actually go in and check the status. If you go back to the SBSD homepage, at the bottom, you will have under resources, you can click on the tab that says certification status check. That is how a lot of our buyers check the status of your application, and they get a little bit of limited information there. When they check the status, they're going to be putting in either a company name, or if they know your certification number, they can search for you that way. And it may have terms like pending, expired, closed, in review. But you, as an applicant, you can check your status that way. But to get a full view of where it is in the process, you would simply log back in to the application portal, click on the application to open it, and you will see the page here with the screenshot in the lower right corner. When you submit your application, this is the last page you will see. On the left-hand side is the date and time stamp for the application when it was submitted. And on the right-hand side, it's kind of the timeline for where your application is in the system. One of the things I do want to caution is when you log back in and you're checking the status, whatever you do not click on edit and do not resubmit the application. Because when you do, it changes your date and time stamp and will reset it back to day one. Okay, and this was just another screenshot of additional documents. Oh, I'm sorry. I am going in the wrong direction. So some of the advantages to being SWaM certified. So the state has a spending goal of about 42%, which simply means that all of our state agencies, colleges, universities, we try to spend about 42% of our budget with businesses that are certified. Other advantages to being SWaM certified is that the priority of awards. So again, micro and small certifications. So for businesses that have the micro and small, we can give the priority to award to those companies before opening it up to businesses that do not have either of the certifications. Also, opportunities are based on the lowest price. As an example, quick quotes are won by the lowest bid, and so are IFBs, invitation for bid. So those opportunities are based on the lowest bid. And then also, it's also used for our prime contractors to meet their utilization plan or their SWaM plan. So when a larger contractor is bidding on a state project, they have to submit a SWaM plan indicating the SWaM businesses that they will be subcontracting that work out to. The overall spend is 42%, but in 2019, we raised the construction budget goal to 50%. So just to remember, SWaM certification provides the opportunity to do business with the state of Virginia, public colleges and universities, as well as many of our local governments. And this is the SWaM logo. So once you become SWaM certified, you have an opportunity to download this logo and use it on your marketing, your brochures, your website, your business cards. But EVA, which is Virginia's online procurement portal, it's the tool to access those state opportunities. Okay, and also for those localities that utilize our platform. But you must be registered as a vendor in EVA in order to bid on those opportunities. I also want to point out that your NIGP codes, and we talked about those briefly, the same NIGP codes that you use in your SWaM application, make sure that those are the same that you use in your EVA profile. And you may have multiple codes. And again, you do not have to be SWaM certified to register in EVA. So if you're interested in applying for certification, there are several ways that you can receive certification assistance. We have our customer service team that's out of our Richmond office. They're happy to answer any questions. However, if you need technical assistance, they will ask you what city you're located in and route you to myself or Chris or our other business service managers that are in other areas of the state to be able to provide that technical assistance to you. And this is just a breakdown of our service areas. So if anyone here is outside of my area, these are our other business service managers with their email addresses. And I know that Sheila will be providing the today's slide presentation. So you will have all of this information as well. And with that, that is the end of my presentation. So thank you so very much. And I'm going to go ahead and stop my share and turn my camera back on. And then I appreciate the time today. Thank you so much again. And I know that they're going to have some Q&A. So I'm going to turn it right back over to Sheila. Thank you.
Angela, thank you so much. We have a couple questions that I'll read aloud now for you to answer to help everyone out. Starting with, first question that came in early was, can my bank account information be updated in EVA for payment purpose?
Chris, do you want to answer or do you want me to answer? Are you answering?
You can answer.
Okay, so to update that information, you do have to contact Eva directly. They do have a payer section, and so there are different options for you to be able to receive your payment. So for that, you would have to contact Eva directly, and they can walk you through that process.
Great. Next question. Can I select more than one NIGP code?
Yes, you can use as many codes as necessary to represent the goods and products that you represent. We have someone in the database. He's a warehouse. He has a warehouse and logistics business, and he sells all kinds of products. And I tell you, he's got about 200 codes for every single item. So sometimes finding those codes can be really easy. But again, if you have any difficulty with narrowing down the codes that represent your goods and services, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help you get your codes.
Great. Next question. I see the certification for SWaM is good for 5 years. If we certify as micro, but then grow and wouldn't qualify, do we have to do something to remove our micro certification, or does it stay valid?
Well, that depends. Sometimes we have businesses that will report to us before the certification expires. And so if they are small and micro, but they no longer meet the micro, it really is up to the business to let us know. Otherwise, we will catch it on the next, on the recertification.
Let's see, next question. Regarding the SWaM supporting documents, what if you are licensed out of state, but your business and office location is in the state of Virginia?
Awesome. Great question. So we do have what is called reciprocity. So reciprocity simply means that if the state outside of Virginia allows Virginia businesses to sell to their government and vice versa, we have reciprocity. So we can certify businesses outside the state of Virginia if two things occur. One, we have to have reciprocity with that state. And two, if that state has a certification, you do have to be certified in that state before applying in the state of Virginia. And we do have about 12 states that we don't have reciprocity with, simply because they have very restrictive procurement rules. For instance, even though Washington, D.C. is not a state, it's literally across the Virginia line, but D.C. does not allow businesses outside of DC to sell to their government. So we don't have reciprocity. We don't have reciprocity with Florida and a few other states as well. And that policy is located on our website. It lists all 50 states. But yes, if we have reciprocity, and if you are headquartered outside the state of Virginia, you do have to have that state's certification.
We are a new business startup starting this year. Do we need to wait to have a certain amount of revenue to enroll in SWaM?
Absolutely not. So a lot of on our website, one of the requirements is the most recent 3 years of your business taxes. You do not have to wait until you've been in business 3 years, and there is no minimum revenue. You could be a new business and you can apply for SWaM certification. You just won't have that tax information with the revenue when you first apply, as if you're a new business. So you can apply for SWaM.
Can you explain how to add more than one document for the SWaM?
Yes. So like I said before, every document has a specific place to upload. So if your operating agreement has 3 pages, you need to scan those 3 pages together to create one file. Not everybody is tech savvy and not everybody has the ability to be able to scan, but we do provide in-person technical assistance. So if you are that person that needs help scanning and may not have the ability to be able to do that, just reach out to whoever your business service manager is to actually schedule a one-on-one, and you can bring your documents and we will help you scan, or we can walk you through different ways to actually scan those documents over the phone or virtually. So sometimes those phone have apps that can scan for you as well. So we did this during COVID. So we come up with some pretty innovative ways to be able to help a business scan their documents.
We have a follow-up to the question earlier about being licensed out of state. They were referring to the proof of identification, DMV license, regarding SWaM supporting documents. I'm licensed out of the state, but your business and office location is in the state of Virginia.
Okay, so if the business is headquartered in Virginia and you have an out-of-state license, the question may be asked why you still have an out-of-state license. But we get this sometimes with the military. We do have military folks that still have the license from the state where they were stationed, and they may have moved to Virginia and have started a business. So I think it's sometimes they may ask for an explanation as to why that you have an out-of-state license.
How do we know if the state has a need for our business type before doing all the work to get certified?
A couple of the ways to do that, well, you can schedule a one-on-one with any one of us, but what we normally do is we look at your goods and services that you sell. We look at your NIGP codes, and we take those codes and we use them we run them through the EVA platform. So there is a report that we work with. It's called Who's Buying What I Sell? How much simple can you get? It's report number 702. We can run that report, or you're happy to go out to EVA. You don't have to have a login to access EVA. It is public. So you can actually go out to EVA, excuse me, and go out to transparency. And there are some transparency reports, and that's one of them, report number 702. So we can actually look to see who's buying what you're selling, how often they're buying, and at what price they've been buying it at. So there are ways for us to help you determine if the state's purchasing what you're selling.
Are prime contractors able to see small businesses on here for the purpose of reaching out for possible subcontracting opportunities?
Yes, so we do have a couple of ways. Sometimes if you're using the EVA platform and it's an open solicitation, one of the tools there's a B2B. It's a B2B tab. And anytime that solicitation is still open for bid, they can use the B2B tab to pretty much say, I'm here, this is the services and goods I provide, and I'm interested in being a subcontractor. The other way is our primes have access to the business directory. As a matter of fact, everyone does. It's a public document that's found on our website. So if I am a prime for a construction company and say I'm looking for roofers, I can actually go out to our business directory. I can put in the NIGP codes for roofing or for construction, or simply type in keywords, and I can search for SWaM vendors that way in order to be able to reach out to them.
All right, we've got about 10 minutes and about 8 questions. So let's see. Okay, so can my local SBDC help me apply for SWaM? I'm going to say yes, but since I don't do any counseling for the SBDC, I'm going to let Angela explain how that would work.
Well, there are some, if they're knowledgeable, pretty much I think the most level that they can provide is actually directing you to the website. Not quite sure how much knowledge each of the SBDC counselors have, but what we do recommend is you can direct to our website, but you may have very specific questions that only our trained staff can really answer, and we have access to the database.
I would think, yeah, that SBDC would connect to one of you in the right area. So yes, we would work together. Let's see. Thank you for a great presentation. I got my SWaM certification. How can I use it to get contracts? I have submitted my paperwork to sam.gov already and waiting for their response.
Okay, sam.gov is federal. sam.gov is the federal bidding platform. EVA is the state of Virginia's bidding platform, and sam.gov is not a certification. So we can connect you with what the Virginia PTAC, which is now the Apex Accelerator, if you need additional information on how to navigate the federal space.
I got my SWaM certification. Can I edit the NIGP codes? And if so, where do I do that?
Yes, so if your certification has already gone through the process, if you've already submitted it, I highly recommend that you wait until it's processed to make changes, because remember, if you resubmit, it changes the date. So wait until your certification has gone through the process. You will want to go to the portal, log in, click edit, and simply go down to the NIGP code section and update your NIGP codes and then submit it. It does not change the status of your application, because once you've been approved, all you're now doing is just updating those codes. And remember, you also want to update on the EVA side. So you update in your SWaM application, so it's reflected in the business directory. However, you also want to update your NIGP codes in the EVA platform so that your profile is now updated as well, and you can start getting notifications if there are opportunities that match those codes.
Would Virginia SWaM certification work for federal contracts?
Not to my knowledge, unless they ask specifically, do you have any certifications? But to my knowledge, it is SWaM is used at the state level. But again, our local government a lot of times use our certification for their vetting process. So for instance, cities like Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth, where they focus on certain types of contracting opportunities, use our SWaM. But I don't know of any federal, Chris, unless you know of any that actually utilize our certification at the federal level.
No.
Okay.
Federally uses federal
Federal
certifications only.
certifications. Yeah.
I have transferred my business from Florida to Virginia. Is my company considered a new business in Virginia? I foreign domesticated my business to Virginia.
So if the business is still headquartered in Florida and you have done a foreign entity in Virginia, which allows you to conduct business in Virginia, the business is still technically headquartered in Florida, and we don't have reciprocity with Florida. So in that case, you would have to dissolve the business in order to have the be able to apply for SWaM in Virginia. And it would then be a new business in the state of Virginia.
Can
So-
I add to that?
Yes,
They
go ahead.
can
Chris.
actually just move their headquarters to Virginia. It's where you're headquartered, not where you're incorporated.
Right, correct.
So here's someone looking for help in person. They are only in business for 2 years and don't need to add to the first year because I started in December. So it's a two-part. So Renata, I'm gonna say you're gonna get the slides, so you'll see who you can contact. But I'll let Angela, the second part was, I'm only in business for 2 years. I don't need to add the first year question because I started in December. Can you answer to that part of the question, or would you just rather have Renata?
I would say have her,
Reach
because I need a little bit more explanation
Okay.
on that. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let's see. So this is, thanks for the great info. I would love that info on who's buying what I'm selling, please. So was there a link that we could share? Or is that in the slides that when?
The one for the who's buying what I'm selling is report number 702, and it's
Okay.
not in there, but I'm happy to send the link to you if
And
you
I
I'll
can-
want.
put it in the chat, and I'll put it in the chat for everyone.
That's great.
The
Oh,
link
okay,
to the
great.
report.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. I'm currently receiving solicitations that require a rather complex RFP for micro business. Welcome any tips tailoring to RFPs that might be appropriate to the size of my business. I don't know if that can be answered briefly or not.
Actually, not briefly, I would just say you have to read the scope of services on any RFP. The RFPs are based on the needs of that specific agency. So, you have to read to determine whether or not you have the capacity to be able to provide what it is that they are actually asking for. And in some cases, if a solicitation or if a solicitation is larger than what you have the resources for, you might want to consider being a sub or even partnering with another small business to bid on that contract. So there are a lot of layers here, and you would really have to read through the solicitation. Not every solicitation is the same.
My application was submitted March 20th and assigned a rep on April 9th. Am I secured to check back into the system? Don't want to make a mistake, or do I just wait? What else should I be doing?
You can log in, click the application to open it, to look at your timeline. Just don't hit edit and try to resubmit. But it is safe to look at your application, yes.
If your SWaM certification has expired, what's the process for renewal?
You would actually use the same link under SWaM certification on our website. Click the apply now. It's going to take you to the actual page to log in. When you log in to recertify, the system, especially if you are at that point to recertify, you will have an option in the lower right-hand corner. It will say recertify. If the button is not active, then it's not ready for you to recertify. Once you click on recertify, then you will have 6 questions that you have to answer. And if there's no changes in your business since the time you last recertified, very few documents, usually it's number of employees if you have them, so your 941s and updated tax returns. If any of those questions are yes, and it's only 6, the system will prompt you to upload based on whatever those changes are. You're going to upload those documents, make any changes, and hit submit. So the recertification is based on how you answer those questions in the survey.
And then how do I schedule a one-on-one? And if it's with the SBDC, it's help@virginiasbdc.org, which will be in the email that comes out. And then Angela, it will be in the slides that that I send out from Angela too, to find out where you're located and who you should work with. But if you want to elaborate on that, Angela, please do.
Yes, you hit the nail on the head there. So my contact information, as well as Chris's and my other colleagues covering other areas, that information will be in the slide. But you are welcome to email me directly. I'm happy to work with anyone.
Let's see. You can see these two, right, Angela?
Are those in the Q&A?
Here's an updated to that question about my application. DBE SWaM was submitted March 20th and assigned a rep on the 9th. Okay, so still they can check with no problem.
Yes, they can. Now, they're applying for DBE. DBE is a different process because it's a federal certification. It does follow a different path, and DBE takes longer. SWaM usually takes about 3 months. DBE can take 6 to 9 months because there's also a site visit, but they should have an assigned DBE officer. I cannot assist. Our business development managers cannot assist with DBE. We have specialized DBE outreach managers because it is federal. So if she has a question about the DBE portion of it, I'm happy to provide, if they email me, who they should connect with for the DBE questions.
Okay. We had one other question from an anonymous attendee. I'm going to ask this person about the sushi business to please just reach out directly when our email goes out to Angela or whoever's in your area to ask, since it's so specific.
Okay.
I think we've covered it all.
All right. Well, thank you. Great questions, everyone. I appreciate the questions.
Well, Angela, thank you. Thanks, Chris, for the backup. I want to thank everyone who attended today. And as a reminder, you will receive an email with a link to the recording and to the slides. If you would like to sign up for upcoming webinars or access recorded webinars, please visit virginiasbdc.org/training. This webinar and other SBD resources are designed to be used in collaboration with your local SBDC advisors. You can sign up for a free and confidential session by emailing help@virginiasbdc.org or via our website. We do hope to see you at our next session. And again, I want to thank the SBSD for partnering with us today. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.